Basketball night in Portland. Up on the bluff, the Portland Pilots host the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Come on inside the Childs Center. This is a rematch of a couple weeks ago, and Gonzaga dominated that game over the Pilots. Hi everybody, I'm Rich Waltz. Welcome to Portland. Former Gonzaga All-American Dan Dickow, former West Coast Conference coach, and Gonzaga Bulldog Jennifer Mountain joins us right now. And it's a rematch right now, and just like 2 weeks ago, the three-point line is important.
The three-point line for Portland is going to be the key. They did not shoot the ball very well. They play well at home. They've got to make 12 to 15 to pull one out.
Okay, Gonzaga's hot right now. They have momentum. One of the reasons why is their point guard. Ryan Nembhard had a terrific week last week.
He was spectacular in their 2 wins last week. The reigning WCC Player of the Week averaged a double-double. Points, it's usually rebounds, but he was in the assist category. He's really taken the keys of this offense and is beginning to flourish down the stretch of this season. Leads the WCC in assists as well as assists to turnovers. He's played spectacular as of late.
If Portland's going to stay in this game and try to pull an upset, it's a very young team, but they need one of their senior leaders to have a good night, and that's Tyler Robertson.
He's got to have a terrific night for Portland. He's the second leading scorer in the WCC. He's their leader. He does a little bit of everything, scores at all 3 levels. He can back you down, get to the rim. He can shoot the 3. His leadership has been terrific. They've got to have him score inside out tonight and then hit threes, like I said in the beginning.
Tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Numerica Credit Union. Show your Bulldog pride with your Zags debit card, offered only at Numerica, federally insured by NCUA. For the Bulldogs, they're still going with the 3 bigs. Ben Gregg has been so versatile and so important in this lineup. And for the Pilots, number 15 is back, and that's great news for Portland. Tyler Harris has battled an ankle injury and illness. He'll bring 12 points and 7.5 rebounds back to this game. Mark Few and the Bulldogs, obviously, with that huge win at Kentucky, they've taken care of business since then. They've won a pair of games. They need to keep taking care of business before they run into San Francisco and St. Mary's on the road to finish the season. And of course, the Pilots want to play spoilers on their home court. Hickman, lob, Ike.
Well, right off the bat, that's going to be an issue for Portland, is the inside play, just not having the size to match up.
Gonzaga can find multiple ways to get the ball to Ike. There on the pick and roll, a lot of times they'll find him ducking in from the weak side. He's tremendous at finding angles to create an opportunity.
And of course, for Portland, they like to shoot the 3. They're a pretty good shooting team. That's Harris cutting through the lane. Clock is down. Gorosito, that's an ambitious 3, a late clock 3, and it's out of bounds, and it goes to Gonzaga.
Well, with this lineup for Gonzaga in particular, now that Ben Gregg is moved into the starting lineup, they can switch 1 through 5. They will do it on occasion. Many times with Ike, they'll keep him at home, but with Gregg, you can switch almost everything.
Well, and look for Portland to exploit that a little bit, pulling him to the perimeter and trying to get by.
Hickman in the lane. Nolan Hickman quietly is having a really nice season. And in his last 3 games, he's averaging 18 a game. He hit some huge shots in the win at Kentucky. Robertson straight on.
Well, they do such a good job, does Portland, of running him off of double screens. He creates problems in that situation. They also do a nice job of posting him up. He's really skilled for a wing in that area of the game.
And he has to guard Ike because Portland's really without a traditional big.
You're absolutely right, Rich. I mean, that's going to be the biggest factor, is points in that paint we're going to talk about. But, you know, he's got multiple assignments tonight.
Ike missed the follow. Robertson has the rebound. First 5 minutes, crucial, Shante Liggins said, for the confidence of this Portland team. They don't want to fall behind like they did 2 weeks ago when a flurry of 3s put Gonzaga up double digits early. Gregg, there's a 3, and he got it.
Well, you saw the double team go in right there, and Gonzaga makes them pay by hitting the 3 on the kick out.
Good start for Gregg. Local product from Clackamas, was high school player of the year in the state. a few years back. Multi-talented, whether inside or outside.
Bull danged it. Probably the most improved player for the Pilots. This is Harris. Late clock again. Gets to the rim and missed it.
Well, he does a great job of creating and getting to the cup, and having him back in the lineup is a huge advantage.
And Greg in transition. The Bulldogs will push tempo. They're averaging 85 points a game, one of the best scoring teams in the country, 5th in the NCAA.
Well, they've led the nation in that category for the last 5 years. And they play at as fast a pace as anybody.
Masic off a screen. And the Pilots settle for a quick 3 and are down 8-3 right now. Nemhard feeds the post. Watson so versatile. Missed the shot. Robertson is going to have to shoulder the bulk of the rebounding.
Well, so far doing a good job on the defensive boards of not giving second opportunities for Gonzaga.
Gorcito. Robertson calling for the ball. A long way from the bucket. He's doubled. Danged it, cuts, spins, hook, missed it, kept it alive. That's a play he doesn't make in November or December. Masic straight on 3. That's off.
Well, you mentioned his improvement throughout the season. He has been terrific the last month. Shooting threes, rebounding, defending. Great hustle.
Nemhard, Ike, Gorcito mismatch. Good pass to the corner. Hickman's 3 is off. Long rebound, Nemhard, floater. Got it.
A second chance opportunity there. Portland initially didn't decide to double Ike. They did late, so all of a sudden they're in scramble mode. When you're in that scenario, you've got to make sure you block out.
Yeah, and just too much of a mismatch in there for Gorcito on Ike.
Robertson against Watson. And the Aussie misses. Ike with the rebound. Bulldogs dominating on the boards. And Watson plows over Robertson. That's an offensive foul and an easy call for the officials. First whistle, first time out. Quick start for the Bulldogs.
A hometown kid coming back, feeling comfortable in this gym, knocking down a 3 before putting the ball on the deck. Tremendous finish. Ben Gregg has been playing well as of late. Need more for that if you're a Gonzaga fan.
In Portland, quick start, Gonzaga on top. Time for the keys to the game, brought to you by Northern Quest Resort and Casino. Dan Dickow, you're up first.
Well, for Gonzaga, I think you got to limit Portland threes. Jennifer mentioned in the open, they would like to make 12 to 15 to have a chance to win. And freshman guards, I think it's imperative that they get some more game experience before you lead into WCC tournament play.
Coach Mountain?
Well, for Portland, it's transition defense. I mean, Dan, you mentioned the pace in which Gonzaga wants to go. It's going to be a big one. And then the second one is limiting points in the paint, not just necessarily in the post play, but guards creating and getting to the bucket.
And fronting the post was something they had trouble with. Portland did up in Spokane.
Well, you saw right off the bat, Gorcito trying to front down low, just a huge mismatch. The double team was late, and Gonzaga made him pay with the made 3.
And one of the strengths of Gonzaga is they've got 2 of the most versatile bigs around in Watson and Gregg. They can play inside, outside. They can guard, as you pointed out, a lot of different players as well. Masic driving hard and gets it up and in.
Masic, a tremendous player, transfer. He's done a nice job of acclimating himself. Had 32 in a game against North Dakota earlier this season, but he can score beyond the arc. I think he's best when he puts the ball on the deck because he's big, he's strong, he's aggressive with his attack.
The other concern for Portland is this: three-point shooting. Gregg hammers home another. They gave up 15 threes in the loss up in Spokane.
If you're going to double, your next man has to be prepared to rotate. They weren't. Ben Gregg open 3.
Yeah, rotation very late right there, and that's going to be a huge one. We talked about the three-point line. Masic getting to the cup again.
Hickman looking for trailers. Gregg is open again. Feeds Ike, spinning and scoring.
Spectacular footwork there from Ike.
He's back. I mean, he's back where he was in 2022 when he was a star at Wyoming.
He was tremendous at Wyoming. 19.5 points a game, 9.5 rebounds. Was a preseason Mountain West Player of the Year last year. Missed all this season due to a foot injury. When you look at his numbers this year for Gonzaga, he's averaging nearly 16 a game, but in only 23 minutes per.
Good work inside and danged it from Robertson. And all of a sudden, Portland getting some success in the paint.
Yeah, and that's got to be a key. If you're not hitting threes early, you've got to do something else. They're finding a way to get to the paint off the dribble and with the pass there by Robertson.
Watson, that's just too easy, and Gorosito took his legs out right from under him. 16-7 start, which actually is a better start for Portland than it was 2 weeks ago when the flurry of threes set them on their heels.
We had a conversation with Coach Leggins yesterday, and I asked him in the lead up to last game, were you planning on giving up open threes? He goes, we really weren't. We were planning on fronting the post. We just had miscommunication on some of our rotations leading into those open threes. And a lot of times for a team, you see one or two go in, all of a sudden the floodgates open and confidence is just flowing to everybody.
Well, you can see that they're trying that same type of philosophy with the fronting of the post. Rotation has been a little bit better, but still late a couple times. Gonzaga able to capitalize. They're on a 12-2 run right now.
And anytime Shante Leggins makes an adjustment, it's difficult. He's got a young team. He does have some veterans sprinkled in there, but for the most part, it's a young group. Robertson is a veteran, and he bangs home his second three, blows a kiss to the crowd. He is a terrific player, the Aussie, and the transfer from Eastern Washington. Hickman, a one-hander, that's sweet, and an 8-point lead for the Bulldogs.
I mean, just tremendous explosion off the dribble, gets to the paint. I think Hickman right now is playing at a really, really high level for these Zags.
Masic drives, missed it. Nembhard pushing, got trailers, got Watson, and got an offensive foul.
Watson's second charge with Robertson stepping in front. Watson has such a knack for knowing where to be on both ends of the floor.
And I don't think Robertson is afraid of anything.
He's not. I mean, and he has had to play in all 5 spots. I mean, you see him, putting his body on the line right there and taking a big hit, but he's a guy that really has done everything. Like I said, transfer from Eastern Washington with Leggins, has done everything for this squad.
And with the new rule this year where it starts with the plant foot, that one was a tough call. I'll leave it at that.
I think the officials, some of them are still getting used to that call as well.
Robertson's just going hard. Bucket does not count. Foul was in the lane, but he's drawing contact. He's aggressive. This is kind of the guy that really makes him go.
Well, he doesn't wow you with his athleticism, but his skill and his IQ, his understanding of angles and how to bump a defender to create more space is what makes him so successful.
You're absolutely right, Dan. I mean, I've had the privilege of watching him for the last couple of seasons. His basketball IQ is what carries him, and he is just super smart. And the leadership, like I talked about, has been tremendous.
He'll be making money next year in the Australian Professional League. Great look, Harris drive, blocked there by Huff.
Well, Robertson could have played professionally this season. Took advantage of that 5th year that was allowed due to COVID. Wanted to come back and play for Shante Leggins. Shows you a little bit of the player-coach relationship that Shante really tries to develop with all his guys.
Robertson says, I'm bombing here. Misses from 24. Hickman trailing, driving, and scoring. It's a block. Count it. And a free throw, and this time Robertson wasn't there in time.
A second nice finish in the lane from Hickman. He's had tremendous footwork on a number of occasions, but with those 2 finishes, playing off of 2 feet in the paint is critical. Gonzaga up 20-10.
All right, tonight's Smiles of the Game brought to you by Delta Dental. We're on a mission to help make Washington State 100% cavity-free. To learn more, visit cavityfree.com. Brought to you by Delta Dental of Washington, proud supporter of Healthy Smiles and your Gonzaga Bulldogs. Couple of block charge calls Coach Mountain. The first one went Portland's way. This last one did not.
Yeah, and I actually think the call should have been flip-flopped. I mean, I thought he actually was there on this. You see him slide over on anticipating the help. He's there, but, you know, we're evened up, I guess you want to say. Right?
Yeah, you're right. I think the first one probably should have gone Gonzaga's way.
Yep.
And so far, the Bulldogs look like they've looked of late. They're sharp offensively. They're pushing the ball in transition. Tyler Robertson doing all he can do right now to keep Portland tight in this ball game. 10-point lead for the Bulldogs, and Hickman goes to the line. And I think Jennifer mentioned this, that Hickman is playing at a high level. I think there's a lot of Bulldogs that have, at this point of the season, really reached their stride, and you can feel it, and obviously it comes at the best of times.
Well, you want to be playing your best basketball going into the WCC tournament, and certainly momentum after winning at Kentucky. They've got it going right now.
Masic, that one almost fumbled. This is Austin in the lane. He's pushed by Nemhard. And that foul was before the shot. Of course, the Bulldogs, their last 3 games, Saturday at Santa Clara, at San Francisco, which is in the Chase Center, which makes that a quad 1 opportunity for the Bulldogs. And a few days later, still in the Bay Area, in the East Bay, they'll have another quad 1 op as they take on St. Mary's last regular season game. So there's some really important games for the Bulldogs. They can't overlook what they got going on. And tonight, Greg, who's hit some threes, misses on the layup.
Tremendous pass. A good catch from Greg. Got to be able to finish that one off. I'm sure he's going to want to have that opportunity back, but we get a look at Gonzaga's tournament resume. 27 straight seasons now with 20 wins or more. Net ranking sitting at 22. The problem for a lot of the so-called bracketologists is the one quad win being against Kentucky a week and a half or so ago. They've had opportunities. They just weren't able to finish them off in the non-conference. They've got 2 the final week of the season.
And probably 3 if they run into St. Mary's in the championship game of the West Coast Conference tournament.
Yes.
And of course, if you're Portland, what you're trying to do is get back on your feet. They had some momentum, the Pilots did, but that loss in Spokane has put them on a 4-game losing streak.
Well, Coach Leggins talks about the fact of just getting healthy and getting his guys back on the floor and moving up in the standings here in this last week.
Well, having Tyler Harris back is good. And that's Dusty Stromer into the ball game.
Good sign there. Nice stretch for Stromer. Terrific block out on one end. Gets out, fills the lane. He has struggled in WCC play, not quite 4 points per game. A lot of it due to limited minutes when Greg moved in the lineup, but they've got high hopes. He's going to be a good player in time.
Masic cuts, and he's fouled. It looked like Stromer. He had an impossible job to start with, right? Having to play the 3 and start as a freshman.
And a lot of it was, when you look at how Gonzaga's roster was constructed, Steele Venters, who's out with injury for the season, tore his ACL after their first preseason game of the year. Stromer was slated to probably play 15 to 20 minutes a game, kind of learn the college game. With Venters' injury, he's now thrust into the starting lineup, and I don't care how talented you are as a freshman, there is a huge jump from high school to Division I, and Jennifer, as a coach, you could speak to just how difficult that is on both ends of the floor.
Well, the learning curve, not only learning a new system, but the strength, the speed of the game. There's so many different high-level offensive, defensive shifts going around, and he's been tremendous as far as being a contributor, but getting comfortable, that is a tall task for a freshman.
And the other thing it's done is it's forced both Nemhard and Hickman to play an awful lot. They're averaging 35 minutes a game. Stromer driving, drops it off, and his fellow freshman Braden Huff with a bucket.
Such soft touch for Braden Huff. He had a tremendous second half in particular against Kentucky. It's like running water when he gets the ball in the low post.
Austin's drive, and I think it stays with Portland.
Tremendous ball movement. attack the closeout, get to the paint, keep the defense in rotation, and find your teammate.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. They're attacking the paint right now and getting wherever they want. Defense is late. They're either getting buckets themselves or easy looks for their teammates.
Yeah, 9-0 run right now for Gonzaga. 15-point lead. Just under the 10-minute mark. Little turning hook. And Chris Austin, the transfer from Fordham. Great to see him healthy. Great to see him after that awful leg injury, which took him out for almost 19 months. Long three. And Ben Gregg is lighting him up.
Yeah, he's got 11 already on the night. 3 of 4 for the three-point line. And we talked about his contribution, I think, the last few weeks after he's been in our last 10 games, after he's been in the starting lineup, all the little things that he does for this squad.
And earlier I said the three-point line would be important tonight. There's 2 three-point lines out there, and the deep one is the G League line.
A much-needed 3 there by Harris. We talked about the fact that Portland's got to get hot from the three-point line. They're 3 of 7 right now, and ended almost a 3-minute scoring drought.
You wouldn't think that Harris would be the one to contribute from beyond the three-point line. As a young player, he's best out in transition, coming up with a block shot there. He's got a terrific future in front of him.
He sure does. I mean, you put some strength on that frame, and he's just going to continue to develop.
Robertson stumbles into a bucket. He is old school.
Yes, he is.
He is just.
That's a great way to put it.
He is just unstoppable.
He's going to be playing at the Y when he's 50 with the exact same moves.
Yes.
Young guys are going to be like, where is this coming from?
Stromer, Huff has the air ball and turns and scores. He's an absolute scorer. He has the ability to get the ball up on the rim, and it goes in more often than most.
Well, Gonzaga's got an advantage in their 2 low post scorers. Huff and Ike are lefties. It's just a little bit of a curveball for a defender to prepare for. And then you add on the footwork and the patience for both of those 2. It can be a nightmare.
Well, right now, 16 points in the paint.
Robertson misses the 3. Harris has the rebound. Good rotation there. Austin driving, rising, and he's fouled. Huff met him at the rim. And Portland showing signs of life.
Well, you talk about T-Rob going to work. He's doing a nice job. Gets to the cup, manages to kiss it in off the glass, but he's done a little bit of everything for them so far in this game. 8 points.
30-17, Gonzaga on top of Portland in the West Coast Conference. 30-17 right now. Gonzaga on top. Mark Few in the huddle. It is a big front line, and the biggest of that front line is Ben Gregg, and he's playing like a stretch 3 right now.
Hey, he's very versatile. He's moved into the starting lineup, plays a little bit at the 3, a little at the 4, but since he's been a starter, he's been tremendous. It's good for him to be able to come home in a starter's role and perform right off the bat. That's harder to do than a lot of people expect. You've got friends and family that maybe haven't seen you play in person in some time. So a lot of times you'll press a little bit. He's been spectacular tonight. 11 points, 3 of 4 beyond the arc.
All right, how did you play when you went back home and played near home?
Loose as can be.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
You dropped, what, 9 threes on this court? You grew up nearby Vancouverish, Prairie High School?
Yeah, it wasn't 9 threes here, but I think it was 34 points. The first 3 possessions, it was threes.
All right.
So
34 points.
It didn't affect him at all.
It's always fun to come back home.
Yep. You know, the thing about Ben Gregg that I love is it's the stuff that's not in a stat sheet that I think he brings to the table. It's that guy that's willing to, put his body on the line. He does all the little tiny intangible things that, the squad needs.
A perfect example was the Kentucky game. He didn't necessarily score it, but he had a couple big deflections and extra possession plays that really gave them hope when Kentucky was on a 12-0 run.
That is going to be a technical foul or a basket interference. Ike was on the rim. I don't think they're going to allow that. One official said goaltend, the other said basket interference. Let's take a look.
Had a great crew in the truck. Give us a second look at. I think he may have been right. Did Chris Austin go through the rim?
He thought that he went through the rim, yeah.
Yeah, well, but I think all bets are off. Once the rim is detached and bent down, I don't think that counts, right? And he's hanging on it?
Yeah. So if he would have gone through the rim on the shot attempt, that would have been a goaltend. But once the shot attempt was missed, correct.
Look at Robertson. He had great rebounding position, and Greg goes over the top and fouls him. And look, Portland was down 16. They've drawn within 11. They can cut it to single digits here.
Well, we talked about that three-point line, shooting, 3 of 7, 43%. Robertson doing a nice job of anticipating that miss on the weak side, getting early position down low on Greg, and gets himself to the free throw line.
This is 1-1, 8th team foul on the Bulldogs. And Robertson misses.
And that's one area Portland can be such a tough cover because they're not traditional. They shoot a ton of threes, and their best post-up interior scorer is Tyler Robertson, a wing who can also handle it and make plays for others on the perimeter.
And he's a terrific passer, does a great job of reading the defense in all spots.
Ike begging for the ball in the low blocks. Greg driving, almost walked. Hickman in the corner. That is long. And Robertson has a rebound, triggers it to Austin against Nembhard. Nice fake, no finish. That's a finish. That's Tyler Harris.
That's one of the reasons he's on NBA scouts' radar right now. He's a work in progress for sure, but the fact that he can get out in transition and make plays like that pique your interest.
You can see Shante Leggins on the sideline. There's Austin almost breaking. Look at Leggins. Look at the energy all of a sudden on the Portland bench.
I'll tell you, I've wanted to put a pedometer on him many times. I mean, the guy never stops moving, but you see this great transition. Chris Austin with the miss, but Tyler Harris with the dunk on the finish.
It could have been a foul.
Yep.
So I got a question then, Jen, is I've seen Shante and gotten to know him when he was at Eastern Washington as a coach. He would pace around the gym walking in pregame warm-ups. Does he do that still at University of Portland?
He still does it in practice. I mean, he just walks the court the entire time, does not stop moving.
Another offensive rebound and another second chance bucket. And the lead is back to 11. Harris off the screen. Robertson danged it, going hard, and Stromer was on him the whole way. And the whistle comes, I think, as the shot went up.
Well, Portland doing a nice job of recognizing if they don't have the three, of putting it on the deck and getting themselves to the free throw line off the dribble.
A couple of these double aways are creating some confusion for Gonzaga. Switch, not switch. That time they switched, but Stromer was late on the closeout to Dengdit, who creates the contact, gets himself in the line for two.
Anton Watson is back in. Dengdit gets one more. He's a freshman who has come a long, long way. He scored just 9 points in his first 10 games. And now he's averaging 6 a game, 4 rebounds a game.
Well, he just provides athleticism. He's been able to shoot three. I mean, last year when he would come in a game, it would just be a three-point shot, and that's it. Now he's expanded his game.
And that's a quick transition point. You can't afford to have that happen if you're Portland off a missed free throw.
No, we talked about that. One of the keys, transition defense off a free throw. That's just unacceptable. Too easy.
Masic. Ike switches off. Dengdit calling for the ball, taking him to the hoop, and missing.
It's a nice move down low, just a little too much off the glass, but a nice move to the rim.
We got the switch, Gorosito on Ike, see if they take advantage.
Ike got up and under and in with a bucket, and that's a quick timeout for Portland. And just when the Pilots got to single digits, the Bulldogs, with a 5-0 run, stretched the lead to 36-22.
The switch, Gorosito, no match for the strength and footwork of Graham Ike.
Gonzaga coverage of the game is brought to you by Primera, proud partner of the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Well, you see the deflection at the other end, and then Harris with a terrific follow off the miss in transition. Portland got themselves within single digits, but as of late, giving up too many points in the paint right now, leading 16-8 in that category over Portland.
Yeah, the Bulldogs right now are out rebounding the Pilots by 9, 21-12, with 6 offensive rebounds. And both coaches have gone to their bench, and Mark Few going to Luka Kranovic, a freshman out of Croatia. He's a guy with a really high ceiling who missed an awful lot of time with a broken hand. He's just kind of getting back into the bench rotation.
I think he's got a bright future. Big guard, skilled, a nice feel for the game. Got to work on his hand a little bit, be able to get by guys, but he's shown some positive stretches since coming back from that hand injury.
Austin falling away, and he gets the roll.
Shows you a little bit of the skill that Austin possessed. He's lost a little bit of that athleticism from that brutal leg injury a couple years back, but is still a really good player.
But Gorosito has been down low against Ike a lot. Nemhard. This is Greg. Long on the 3. And Ike collides. The shot clock reset to 30. And now they reset it to 20. So this is a Gonzaga ball.
Well, you go back to Chris Austin. You talked about that injury, Dan, and you know he went from a starting role into more of a guy coming in off the bench, playing limited minutes. But it's been really good. He's added that spark off the bench. You see his defensive intensity, have created some deflections. But yeah, just a little bit different of a player after that injury, and it was a tough one.
Baseline out of bounds, and Dengdit got a piece of Ike.
Good execution there. Good recognition from Nemhard to find Ike. But if you're Dengdit and you're guarding Ike in that situation, it goes back to second, third grade ball you man defense. You got to be able to see both. He didn't see the ball. Ike cut to the basket at the line for 2 after the foul.
Ike has really turned it on, and one of the hurdles he had to overcome was his niceness. Mark Few said today, he said the guy was just too dang nice. I told him, I said, look, if you play post at Gonzaga, first option, shoot it. Second option, shoot it. Third option, shoot it. Fourth option, we're going to dump it into you and then shoot it. and it's taken, you know, a couple months, not only for the rust of his injury, but to get that through and dinged it with 2 hands.
Great pass from Masic. A perfect pocket pass in that little window. But back to Ike and the comment you had about, you know, the post and their focus at Gonzaga. You know, Gonzaga was known as guard U for the longest time because of John Stockton. But if you look at the pros that Gonzaga has sent, it's Zach Collins, Killian Tilly,
Sabonis,
Rui Sabonis. Exactly right. Chet Holmgren. They have more bigs by far in the NBA than they do guards.
Well, you were there for a while, so you count. Greg off balance with a bucket. He's having a terrific night from the outside and inside.
And you don't always see that with programs being able to teach the inside-out game, yet play as fast as Gonzaga does. Usually if you play inside out, you play slow. Gonzaga plays fast, but still inside out.
Masic.
Well, you look at their post players. I mean, they got guys that can run the floor and that are athletic. It's not a, you know, a big stiff that can't get up and down the floor.
Even Ike said that's one of the big things he had to work on was getting out in transition. Kranovic. And Masic tips it to Robertson. And a foul coming down the floor. Ike got tangled with Gorosito. And I'm not sure if by design or it's happenstance, but Gorosito has spent an awful lot of time under the legs of, I mean, he's had to defend him in the low post.
Well, he's a tough player. He doesn't back down, doesn't give an inch, and when their defensive philosophy is calling for switching, he gets rolled down into that low post. You can either give in or fight, and he's fought on many of those possessions. I guarantee you that is not easy. I've had to do that many times. And bigs, their elbows tend to be at your chin, your nose level. You got to find a way to avoid it and kind of deliver your own blows at the same time.
Well, he definitely has the ability to deliver the blow. He finds himself in a lot of predicaments like this last one, picking up that foul on Ike in transition.
And the officials right now are looking at that last sequence of those two coming up the floor. Here's our first look with Gorosito and Ike. And
not much to do about nothing there.
yeah.
Play on.
Yeah.
Mike Reed, the lead official here tonight in Portland. 2 minutes left in this first half. Gonzaga and Portland played on the 7th of February. It was 96-64, and it actually felt a lot bigger than that with the great lead that Gonzaga built early on. And we've got an official visiting us. Common foul on Gonzaga. Got you. Thank you. All right, there you go. Common foul. Ike.
That's the right call.
It's going to happen at some point in this game that they just give the officials a microphone over by the monitor over there. It's great that they come over to say hi and let us know, but we're the only ones that just heard that. Everybody else who's paid money to be here should be able to hear that as well, right?
Well, they do it in the NBA. It's only a matter of time. The NBA typically sets the standard for what broadcasts are, what the style of play will become. It would be fun to see that and hear the reaction from the crowd when it's actually announced by an official.
It just gives another element to, the fan base. It'd be kind of fun.
So Gorosito is the beneficiary of the common foul. Ike now has 2 and is still in the game with 2 minutes left in this first half.
Gorosito really quiet. The first 2 points of the ball game. Had 13 in Spokane the first time around, and a definite 3-point threat.
The Argentinian. Hickman, Nembhard. Ike, that's a tough pass. Nice play by Krinovic, and it's kicked loose. Austin up ahead. Krinovic is there, and Austin is blocked. Ball stays with Portland.
A terrific contest from Krinovic. He was out of position when Nembhard dribble drive action to the rim. He should have rotated back earlier in transition, but a vertical contest without a foul there.
He's a guy whose game really suits Gonzaga's offense and their system. So you would think in a year or two, he'll really blossom.
He's got to love being in Portland playing here. His favorite player of all time, former Blazer from Zagreb, Croatia, Drazen Petrovic.
Masic gets in the lane and can't finish. Krinovic, the rebound. Hickman a 3. That's beautiful basketball.
That's the pace right there. I mean, it is outlet and go, and just a terrific job of getting the ball up the floor and hitting a quick one.
43-28, final minute, first half.
That's Hickman's 10th point of the game.
Tremendous hedge there on the pick and roll from Ben Gregg.
Robertson spinning against Ike. It would have been his 3rd foul, but no whistle. And Gonzaga pushing tempo again. And a timeout. Gonzaga's going to use that timeout. 34 seconds left. Remember that 5-minute mark? Portland had crept within 9, and you felt like this is these next 5 minutes are important. If the Pilots could keep it at single digits, go in at halftime, but Gonzaga's put open the throttle up.
Well, in that time frame, no field goals. I mean, almost 3 minutes with no field goals. 0 of their last 5 from the floor, and that's been kind of an Achilles heel all season with this group. They'll have moments with greatness and then just droughts of not scoring the ball.
The importance of this game for Gonzaga, it's, as Elvis used to preach, taking care of business, right? They want to get to 11-2. They want to keep some pressure on St. Mary's, but it looks like St. Mary's going to win the regular season. Gonzaga gets St. Mary's the final game of the regular season in Moraga. But also the Bulldogs on that trip play San Francisco. It's a road game, and that's important because 1-75 on the road. If you win it, that's a quad 1 win. And San Francisco's playing that game in the Chase Center. Since it's a conference game and San Francisco chose to move it to the Chase Center, it stays not as a neutral, but as a road game for Gonzaga.
It's going to be an interesting environment because I know from being up in Spokane, they've really pushed, the Alumni Association has, of getting people from the Bay Area to that game.
And that's not, I'm sure, what Mark Few just drew up, right, with that timeout.
In those situations, you want to see execution, because you don't know when you are going to need a sideline out-of-bound execution late clock in a conference tournament game or in an NCAA tournament game. You want to see which guys can execute from watching it, seeing it on the clipboard, to out on the floor.
Gonzaga's third turnover of the game.
And a chance for Portland to maybe finish on an up note and cut into the lead here. Masic with 4 on the clock, drives and scores. Terrific move, and that's exactly what happened, Coach.
Yeah, great read right there. It was a pick and pop option for Robertson. They bid on it a little bit, and he was able to get to the cup with a great finish, and that's exactly what Portland needs going into the half. A little momentum, a made bucket, and Masic delivering.
All right, so one half in the books. Gonzaga off to a pretty good start. Portland made a run, drew to single digits. Gonzaga put some more distance, and a bucket near the buzzer has Portland down 13 in the West Coast Conference. Halftime has arrived at the Chiles Center. Stick around. We'll talk West Coast Conference hoop, Gonzaga and Portland at the half. Basketball night in Portland. Gonzaga's in town, and on top, late bucket by Portland cuts the halftime lead down to 13. Rich Schwartz, Dan Dickow, Coach Jennifer Mountain. All right, let's start with Gonzaga. Ben Gregg set the tone in this one from the outside and from the inside.
He did. It's hard to come home and perform well because of all of the outside expectations and pressures, but he's been spectacular in the first half. 13 points, including 3 from beyond the arc. Looks like the player of the year from Clackamas High School.
Well, terrific, like we talked about, shooting a 3 early in this game, but it's the other things that he does all the time as well that have led the Zags.
All right, speaking of leading, we set the table for this at the outset. Leading the way right now for Portland is their Aussie, and he's so much fun to watch. He's old school, and it ain't pretty, but at 6'6", maybe?
But effective. I mean, that's the thing about him. He does a little bit of everything for this squad. He hits the 3. He's got 8 points coming off that staggered screen, ready to pull the trigger, but so much of his game is backing down, reading the defense. We talked about his basketball IQ, really good at creating on both ends of the floor, and just a terrific job of leading this group and big time from the three-point line.
Feels like, at times, Portland can play with Gonzaga, and they've got within single digits. How do they get over the hump here?
Well, Jennifer touched on it in her keys of the game. They've got to hit threes. They live, I don't want to say they live and die by the 3, but they're a very 3-point dependent team. Only 3 made threes in that first 20 minutes.
It's got to happen for them in this second half if they want to have a chance, and they've got to stop the ball in transition. Yeah,
the transition threes have hurt as well. That's where Greg got a couple of his early ones. Halftime entertainment has arrived. 43-30 in Portland. The Gonzaga Halftime Report is brought to you by Coeur d'Alene Casino. Join us at the Coeur d'Alene Casino for a mouth-watering steak dinner, pampering spa treatment, or the hottest games around. Coeur d'Alene Casino, a proud sponsor of Gonzaga Athletics. Coeur d'Alene Casino, welcome home. Welcome back to Portland. Dan Dickow takes the pampering spa treatment on occasion at the Coeur d'Alene Casino. I'm told 43-30. Rich, Dan, Jennifer. Okay, points in the paint. We knew it was advantage Gonzaga, and that didn't change in the first half.
Well, a 24-14 advantage, and we talked about the different ways of their scoring points in the paint. It's not just big guys going to work. It's creating off the dribble from the point guard spot in transition, a terrific job of getting out and going and pushing that pace that we talked about, and they're doing a great job of just the bigs running the floor and finishing.
Yeah, you look at that highlight package, you're attacking the rim in many different ways. Pick and roll, hit the roller at the rim for a lob. First play of the game, you do it in transition, you do it off dribble drive action. They just do it in so many different ways, makes it hard to prepare for.
Our first half stats brought to you by Coeur d'Alene Casino. Anything else that's of concern? The rebounding advantage is tied to points in the paint, obviously. The assists, though, jump out too. A dozen to just 5 for Portland.
Yeah, I think for Portland, if they're going to be able to get back into this game, they're going to have to get hot from the three-point line, which we talked about, but they have to do it by making plays for others. That's great screening action, delivering the ball on time and on target to their teammates.
All right, second half coming up. We're in Portland tonight in the West Coast Conference. Halftime coming to a close in Portland. Gonzaga 43, Portland 30. Second half from the Chiles Center. Graham Ike and the Zags up 13. Back after this. Second half ready to start. Jennifer Mountain, if you're Mark Few, what was the message in the Gonzaga locker room?
Well, I think you still want to continue to push pace any chance you get. And then you got to contain the three-point line. They did a decent job of it in the first half. That's the only way Portland can get themselves back in this game. Control that three.
Dan Dickow, Shante Legans.
Continue to be decisive. One turnover in the first half shows me that they've tried to make plays. Now they just have to convert those plays, in particular beyond the three-point line.
First possession, Portland. They scored on the last possession of the first half. Biggest Gonzaga lead was 16 in that first half. Gorosito has had a quiet night, except for getting under the skin of Ike. 5 to shoot, got to get it up. Harris driving, and Watson clears the glass.
Good defensive possession there for the Zags. Tough shot, shot clock winding down.
Ike so good with his feet.
A deep post catch, double was non-existent, and when it started to come, it was late. Ike, too smart of a player, sees it, spins away from the double, easy finish.
Well, and if he gets that deep in the paint, they're gonna struggle to stop him at any point.
Gorosito penetrates.
But to be fair to Portland, I mean, you're asking Dengit, who's a young freshman that's not mature in the weight room yet, and Robertson to be the main defenders on him in the low block. That's a tough ask for a fifth-year senior.
Missed 3, long rebound. Ball's on the floor. Watson goes down. It's held, and it's Gonzaga's ball.
You're absolutely right, and you know, that's where it comes back to the double team. The double team's got to come quick and come hard. You know, part of the problem is it's Gorosito going at times to double team, and a little bit of size disadvantage right there.
Well, defending Ike in the post is tough enough. He's got great hands. His footwork has improved with every game he's played, both at Wyoming and here. And then you mix in the fact that he's left-handed, and that's a real header. Hickman. Now Watson in the other post, falling away. That's good. That's sweet. He does so much so well.
That's the evolution of his game. I mean, you weren't going to see that from him his freshman year. Even last year you wouldn't see it because it wasn't his role, but he's continued to evolve his game, and now when he's asked upon to score in the low block, he has moves such as that he can rely upon.
That's a foul. Watson got him. And Robertson waits for his teammates to peel him off the floor. Third on Watson now.
Watson's scratching his head about his mistake and giving up that third foul on the defensive end, but a terrific offensive player. A little bump to Robertson's shoulder, create a little bit of separation, spin away from the contact. That was a pure fadeaway to the baseline.
He is, I mean, Watson to me, and this was a term that Dan Fitzgerald and Muntz and Huey and they call it a zag. Is a guy zag-like? Is the player a zag? And to me, Watson is that guy. Watson goes back through time in this program. The guys like him. He's got glue-like tendencies and characteristics, but he's got skills to be a star.
Well, he's a player that you're going to find a way to get him minutes because he does so many things that impact winning. Doesn't always show up on the box score, in particular early in his career, but he gets deflections. He understands defensive rotations, executes game plans.
That is a charge. That's the third charge that Robertson has drawn.
Well, we talk about not only his offensive end, but look what he does for this group at the defensive end. Again, it's that basketball IQ, recognizing, anticipating from the weak side, and does a great job of stepping in.
And that may have been Portland's best overall team defensive possession. The double team on the post was early. Robertson was clearly there early in help side. Portland needs more of that in the second half. They're going to make a run.
And more of that. Robertson curling off a screen, buries a 3. Still a long ways to go for the Pilots. They got within 9. Biggest lead has been 16. Greg, of course, had that great first half with 13 points. Ike. Greg backs in, kicks out. Hickman's long 3, good. Nolan Hickman averaging 18 a game his last 3.
Well, the dig down just a little too deep right there, not able to get back on the closeout. And Hickman makes him pay.
Don't let him get going.
Nope.
Gorosito has had multiple games this season with 3 or more makes from beyond the arc, including 7 against San Francisco.
And Ike right down the other side.
Yeah, great high-low option from Greg inside.
That's the hallmark of a good transition team. Whether it's a live ball turnover or a missed shot, or in that case, a made shot to beat the other team down the floor and get a bucket like that. Ball's out of bounds. It stays with Portland.
You know, I think a lot of times, you know, we talk about Gonzaga and their offensive game, but their defense in the last month and a half, I think the level of play has really risen, and that's why they're playing at such a high level right now. They've got it going on both sides.
Greg comes out. Dusty Stromer in for the Bulldogs. Gorosito trying to get loose of Nembhard. Good fake, steps through, and Ike's going to pick up his 3rd personal.
Well, that was a gutsy little play right there. I mean, nice job of getting by at the perimeter and then fakes the pass to the 3-point line and gets to the rim against the bigger Ike.
Now, we had Ike with 2 personals coming into the half. But right now on the official stats page, they've got Ike with only 2. Am I missing something? Gorosito gets another one. Juan Sebastian or Wanse?
Wanse.
A rare 2-point opportunity there. Gets him to the free throw line where after a make, they can set up a little bit of 3/4 court pressure just to slow Gonzaga down.
Yeah, I like that option. Just going a little 1-2-2. And like you said, Dan, it's all about pace.
Ike Robertson hit the deck and Ike cashes in. That's an offensive foul.
Yeah, that's a good call right there.
He's big, he's tough, and he's impossible to stop.
Well, when you're giving him that type of position down low, he's going to make you pay. Gonzaga on a big 54-39.
Gonzaga on top. Dennis Patchen.
Smile, DP, come on.
And look, a while ago, I used to go to Arby's with Dennis Patchen and Rick Lukens.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day. And our trivia question is brought to you by Arby's, your delicious neighborhood meat crafter. Stop by Arby's today. Arby's, we have the meats. What is Gonzaga's largest margin of victory against Portland in games played at the Childs Center? And you can text your answer to 83200. Is it 28? Is it 22? Is it 24? And if you'd like to send a message to Dennis Patchen too, you can do that as well.
The Patchens, Lukens, and Oso show used to be a radio show in Spokane. I had a show that came on right before theirs.
What happened to your show, Dan?
Well, we got fired. I have to admit, like my versatility with baseball and Seahawks football was not good.
The other part of that trio was Bud Naiman.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were like the 3 horsemen.
Bud Naiman was back in my day.
Yeah.
Portland in a little bit of a 1-2-2 zone here.
I like the adjustment. That 3/4 court press kind of put a stop on their tempo in the last possession.
Stromer's open and he hammers a 3 home. And Gonzaga comes out of the timeout with a bucket and a clean look.
And that is big for his confidence. Been struggling shooting it from beyond the arc, in particular in league play, but he came in out of high school with the reputation of being a really good outside shooter.
Harris, that's a terrific move to stop, pivot, and step through.
Yeah, great step through move, and you just see his athleticism.
Dengit trying his best to stop EK in the lane. Stromer, another three, missed it. The two strongest posts on the West Coast, I'm guessing EK and Jaden Ledee of San Diego State.
Yeah. When EK was at Wyoming, Ledee wasn't quite a rotational player yet, but I would agree, two very tough, physical low post players, and big three from Robertson.
Tyler Robertson with that three. No basket. Foul on the floor.
Well, great find by Gorcito to find Robertson in the corner. Nobody on him, and big basket right there to pull them within 13.
Robertson now with 15, 5 of 9 from the field. He's hit 4 threes and missed just one. So he's picked up your end of the bargain, Coach, with the threes.
Well, if he can stay hot, Gorcito, who we know can get hot, they can make this interesting in these next few minutes.
Nemhard kicking, Hickman launching, missed it. EK keeps it alive, and Watson finishes. He'll get a free throw.
Well, that's what they can't do, is give up offensive boards and second chance opportunities. They got the shot they wanted in that half-court defense, but EK making them pay.
Well, one of the problems when you go zone is it opens up the offensive glass for opportunistic crashes. Watson doesn't get blocked out because of confusion on who is your responsibility as a defender. Takes advantage of it, chance of three-point play.
Vasily Vucinic into the ball game for Portland. Bol Dengit is out. And there's Braden Huff. Watson drops the free throw through. Gonzaga's lead is ballooned back up to 16. Robertson trying to pry himself loose in the low blocks. Masic.
That's a decent look. He loves the mid-range pull-up.
Austin, and a tip is good. Vucinic.
Well, good job by Austin of getting to the rim.
Well, direct line drives, the last couple of possessions have resulted in the rotation for defense with Gonzaga to be a step late. Get another look at that left to right crossover from Austin. Can't finish, but Vucinic not blocked out, able to get the little putback.
Long three for Braden Huff. A little tie up underneath, no whistle. Harrison transition, going again, and getting to the free throw line.
Well, it started with a great defensive board there by Harrison, then he gets out, and this is where he's really, really good, is getting out in the front court and going, creating that to the rim.
And work in progress in regards to the fine-tuned skills such as shooting, but when you get him in the open floor, he can find angles, use his length and athleticism to create problems.
And he's still coming back from illness, but that ankle injury in particular. He had a great start to the season. 3 times he was the West Coast Conference Freshman of the Week. Ankle injury, out 5 to 6 games. And that's tough to just shut it down over the course of 3 weeks and then jump right back into conference play.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, you know, in talking to Coach Legans, you know, getting sick last weekend certainly didn't help the cause, but having him back in this lineup certainly changes what they can do on both ends of the floor.
Lane violation wiped out that last attempt.
Yeah, missed opportunity by the Pilots right there to pull it within 12.
Nemhard has a lane, has a bucket.
Well, great recognition. Portland switched Vucinic onto Nembhard up top. He knows he can get by a big out that far away from the basket anytime he wants. It's the rim, nice finish.
Robertson left-handed pass, nicely done. Austin misses a hook. Vucinic cleans it up.
Well, Vucinic has come in this last few minutes, giving them 4 quick points, and that's certainly what they need. They do not have a lot of big post presence.
Tough backing in. Watson's wide open. That can't happen.
Yeah, miscommunication right there.
Pick and roll. Robertson driving, leaning, block tough. Nembhard chased it, but it was out of bounds.
And Huff comes up with a block shot there, but when you look at Gonzaga's defense this year, Jennifer mentioned it, it's gotten better as the season has gone on, and I agree. But the one area they're lacking as compared to some other years is rim protection.
EK, for all he does, rebounder, scorer. He's not a shot blocker. Hickman, oh man, he is smooth. He is peaking at the right time of the year. Can't wait to see him in the Bay Area next week.
Shooters shoot. Versatile players make reads and decisions. Huff finds Watson for the easy one. Nembhard to Hickman, letting it go from deep. He is on fire.
67-48, Gonzaga on top. Time for the answer to Fan Trivia, brought to you by Arby's. Correct answer was Go Zags won. Largest margin of victory at Portland was a 28-point win on January 9th, 2021. So there you have it. One note, we talked about, hey, someday they need to have a mic over at the monitor when the officials are looking at a review. And the West Coast Conference Tournament, I'm told by a high-ranking West Coast Conference official, they are efforting to have that for that tournament in Las Vegas.
That's awesome news to hear. You know, it's interesting the comings and goings of college athletics and conference realignment, but I think Stu Jackson is doing a really nice job of kind of navigating the changing landscape. Spent a long time in the NBA, spent time in the Big East before he took over as commissioner. He's added Oregon State, Washington State, at least for 2 years while they figure out as well, but I like what they're doing with the conference.
And it'll be interesting, Coach, when those two schools join next year. You have natural rivalries for both of these schools, right? You got Oregon State to play Portland, and you got Washington State coming from the Palouse to take on Gonzaga. And you've got us going to a break. 67-48. Jennifer Mountain, before that neon rose popped up on the screen and we went away for a bit. We were headed towards the discussion of Oregon State, Washington State joining. It affects these two schools because they're natural partners and travel partners or rivals as well. What effect does it have on these two schools and the bigger West Coast Conference?
Well, I think they're two great additions. Number one, I mean, you're talking about the proximity, obviously, and then you look on the women's side. You have both those schools that have, I mean, Washington State won the Pac-12 tournament last year. Oregon State right now is number 2 in the Pac-12 and playing at a really high level. It's going to bring great competition. And then you look on the men's side, I mean, same thing. You know, Washington State in the top 25 right now, and obviously nice rival right down the street from Gonzaga. Just brings, I think, another level of play to this conference.
Yeah, I would agree. I think when you look at Washington State this year on the men's side, they have absolutely exceeded expectations from outsiders' perspective. They've got a big one tonight at Arizona where it may determine the Pac-12 title, as it typically does. It runs through Tucson. But that being said, they're en route to their first NCAA tournament in quite some time. They have the longest drought of any Power 5 conference team in the country.
Can you count the number of modern-day coaches, or maybe even a little further back, that have taken Washington State to the NCAA tournament? George Raveling, Kelvin Sampson, Tony Bennett.
Yes. Pretty heck of The list of coaches there.
Robertson, that's a great find there. It was a pick and roll, and he looked like he was going to take it himself and dumped it off. Vucinic at the end with a bucket.
Well, and he's, again, come in and given them good minutes inside with some post-production.
So a 17-point Gonzaga lead. Huff backing in. Missed it. Follow Stromer.
I really like what Stromer's done tonight as far as his activity level. Knocked down a 3 earlier, but on the glass, he's been really active as well. Only a second rebound, but he's crashed multiple times where teammates have been able to get the result.
That's a hold, I think, on Ben Gregg. For Gonzaga, led tonight by Nolan Hickman with his 16. Ike's got 14, a 6 of 8 shooting. And the Bulldogs shooting almost 60% from the field. That's 4 on Gregg. I think one of the 2 fouls that Ike was charged with in the first half may have gravitated over to Gregg at halftime.
I think you're right, because, yeah, it's my recollection was the fact that he was whistled for 2 early ones.
Gorosito and Nembhard. Missed the 3. Watson. Ike's begging for it. Robertson again draws that assignment. Harris almost had the steal. Stromer has the 3. Ike the rebound.
Great offensive board right there.
Hickman rising. And Robertson somehow away with the rebound. Tyler Harris out of Hayward, California. Robertson against Hickman. Robertson takes that 3, hits it. Well, Tyler Robertson has been terrific tonight. 18.
Just after struggling in the first matchup in Spokane, where he was 2 of 9 from the field for 5 points. He's an ultimate competitor. Followed Shante Legans from Eastern Washington to here. And Shante has said on multiple occasions that was huge to get this program kick-started in the right direction. Now, if you're a Portland fan, you still might say there's a long ways to go, but it shows you just how far this program slid the last couple of years under Terry Porter.
Well, I mean, if you want to go back for some perspective, since 1960, one NCAA tournament. That was Rob Chavez back in 1996. One in the last 63 years.
Well, I really like what Coach Legans is doing. I mean, from the day he stepped on campus, I mean, the culture change, the excitement, the energy on campus has just been different and a different group of guys.
Robertson, corner 3 this time. Ike, another rebound. And Ike has got a double-double now. Battle of the Titans. Nembhard and Gorosito. Ike. That's a nice job by Vucinic.
Yep, that was good interior defense.
Almost a step. You can see Shante Legans saying, go to the bucket. Austin, nice pass in. And Vucinic with some great minutes. And the lead is 14, and Mark Few doesn't like what he sees.
Well, Vucinic coming in off the bench. I mean, great minutes. He's been an inside presence. It's exactly what Portland needs. A great pass by Austin. But to see the up fake right there going right at Ike, 69-55.
And we talked a lot at practice today about the upcoming schedule and what's at hand. And he said, look, we have to take care of business before we even think about Santa Clara on Saturday. And we're not even thinking about going to San Francisco or Moraga to take on St. Mary's. And so far tonight, I mean, it looks like Gonzaga's been focused. There have been a couple of runs by Portland, but overall, I think Mark Few has to be pretty happy with what he's seen so far.
Yeah, you don't want to get ahead of yourselves. They've had some miscues defensively, but they've shored things up when needed. But give Portland a lot of credit. They're playing with a passion and a pride that maybe you wouldn't normally see this point of the year from a team out of the playoff race.
All right, let's play this game. West Coast Conference Player of the Year. Who you guys got?
Well, I really like Marshall from St. Mary's. And, you know, being a Gonzaga fan, obviously went there, but I just think what he does for his ball club is at such a high level. Numbers maybe aren't as high, but he has just been terrific this season.
Dan?
Had San Francisco pulled the win off at St. Mary's earlier in this week, I probably would have gone Jonathan Mobo, but then you look a little deeper into the stats. Only 8 against Gonzaga, struggled in both meetings against St. Mary's. You want the player of the year to play the best in big games. I think it honestly comes down to the last week of the season. If St. Mary's is able to win at Moraga, I think Marshallonis will be the player of the year. If Gonzaga can win down in St. Mary's and Anton plays well, I think Anton's the player of the year.
The one thing about Marshallonis, his numbers don't do his game justice.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
But the eye test, and I've seen him, I believe, I've had him 3 times. He makes everybody on the court better, especially Aiden Mahaney. He lets Mahaney be Mahaney. He fills the role that Tyler Johnson, an underappreciated guy from last year, a warrior on defense, a guy who can slash and get to the bucket. And Marshallonis' game has come so far this year.
And you see when they struggled early in non-conference, he hadn't fully taken the reins confidently for Randy Bennett's ball club. As soon as he started playing with confidence, the Gales took off. It's going to be interesting to see, though, with Joshua Jefferson out for the rest of the season for St. Mary's, how that's going to impact them.
Shot blocked. Robertson got the block, took a hit. There's no whistle other than out of bounds, and Gonzaga will hold on. So let's add together what we had there. Our exit polls indicate Marshallonis with a slight lead right now. Watson has the ability before the polls close next week to
It's a good way to put it.
to get back in front. We good with that?
2-man race.
Okay.
Can you mail vote your vote in early?
Yeah. Yeah, as long as you sign
But
it.
then you can't change it later, so I'll vote day of.
Watson. Ike, another offensive rebound and a bucket.
So hard to keep off that offensive glass. You mentioned it, a double-double. 7 of those on the season now for Graham Ike.
16 points, 11 rebounds. Vucinic is having almost what feels like a career night tonight.
Well, certainly coming in and giving them good minutes. Pick and roll right there. Defense did not rotate, and he gets the easy 2.
He's the only big on this Portland roster who creates a problem by diving after that pick and roll. The team that switches, if you put in a little bit of doubt in their rotations, you're going to have an opportunity, and Vucinic has made the most of it.
And that is his career high of 10, his prior West Coast Conference high of 9.
Well, Portland defensively is getting what they want on the first attempt, just not doing a good job on the defensive boards.
Nemhard will step back, 18-footer, volleyball for Ike. Another offensive rebound for the big man, and another foul drawn. As we talk about Portland, as they try to build this program, part of that component is NIL, and it's something the administration has addressed and have put in place a program that's gaining some momentum now, but they hope by next year will be fully in place. Talking to Scott Lakin, their athletic director, and it's good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think Scott Lakin, you know, he's got forward thinking. He's really, again, I think, making changes that this university needs, and the president as well, Dr. Kelly, they have a good vision. It's just a matter of implementing it. It's going to be a process, and fans have got to realize that and have some patience.
Robertson, 7th rebound to go with 18 points. Masic drives. Left hand, a big Euro step there. Stromer with the rebound. Watson. Oh, missed it. And it's tipped back out. Portland's got numbers. Masic almost walked.
As great transition defense by Gonzaga. They had number situation and did not take advantage of it.
Good find to Harris, and that's all Robertson setting it up.
Portland deserves a lot of credit. I mean, there's been a couple of stretches where Gonzaga could have blown this game out, but Portland has not backed down here in the second half. They've had some good production from Vucinic. And Robertson continues to play well as always.
Robertson got hit.
Yeah, he took one right to the chin.
And he's down. Watson is saying flop. At least he's demonstrating the flop motion. I think the officials are going to look at this. Anytime a player goes down, here's a look. Oh.
I mean, that's probably by the way that the rule is written. They're probably considering it being a flagrant one, which is avoidable, unnecessary contact, because as he kind of ducked in on the post up, his elbow hit him in the throat. But that's a basketball play that just happened to be worse than it initially looked.
If it's a flagrant one, does it take away the basket?
I don't believe so.
It should not. No, because the foul.
The foul was there before the ball went through the hoop.
My understanding is no, it would not take the basket away.
They'll just get a free throw.
They'll take a look at it and see if they add the foul after the dead ball.
And a poll of my analysts, are you going flagrant one here?
I think they're going to upgrade it.
I don't think so. I don't think, you know, that is a play that I mean, Graham Ike ducks in nearly every possession. You don't see Portland ducking in because they don't have the interior presence that Gonzaga has. But you would see a play similar to that multiple times a game. It just so happened that the elbow was up around the throat area as Robertson was leaning forward. I would imagine it's just a play on.
Portland's remaining schedule. You got Santa Clara and then Loyola Marymount. And I think the Pilots, too, it's been a disappointing year. They're 3-10. They're 9-19. But I'm sure they're thinking about West Coast Conference tourney because they're going to play teams that are beatable in that early round, right? You can, as a program that's had not a great year in the West Coast Conference, you can kind of salvage it a bit if you can get a couple wins in Las Vegas.
And you want to see guys play with a lot of pride. They're one game behind LMU in the standings, and they play them to finish the regular season.
Gotcha. All right. Dan wins the discussion. After review, nothing to upgrade.
Good piece of officiating by agreeing with me. I'm not saying it didn't feel good. That's no,
that's 75, and he's going strong. Ike gets the block. Hickman.
Total control from Nembhard. Pushing transition, doesn't like it.
Ike
back to an angle.
Ike just too good.
And just smart by Nembhard. I mean, that's, again, you got your point guard running the show, recognizing he didn't have an advantage. He pulls it out.
That's where he's gotten better over the last probably 5-6 weeks of the regular season. Is early in the season, at times he would push. He didn't like it. He'd turn it in to a post up as a guard, which can happen organically at times, but I thought early in the season he would force it. Now he reads it, recognizes it. Nope, let's get into something. A great example again right there.
Well, I just love how fast he pushes the ball up the floor. I mean, decision making obviously is there, but if you don't get back, you're going to be in trouble.
Ike, 18 points, 13 rebounds. Maybe he should be in the discussion as well for Player of the Year. If he keeps playing like this, especially the last 3 games. Any takers on that?
Good point. 7 double-doubles
look,
now.
The season's not over, and obviously Gonzaga's got 3 enormous games. Say Ike goes double-double in 2 of the 3 or 3 of the 3. I think for sure he's got to be in that discussion.
There's valid points to that. I mean, 7 of the last 10 games he's had 20-plus points. He's knocking on the door of another one.
Great pass, too.
And he's added that element to his game this year.
Well, tremendous execution right there.
And talk about the legacy, and Dan did in great detail, the legacy of big men in Gonzaga Bulldog history, and there have been great ones. Many of them are still playing in the NBA. Ike, who was great when he arrived, man, just seems to be getting better and better as a Zag. Earlier tonight, the Childs Foundation, who has given so much to this university and to the athletic department, presenting a $5 million donation. And that donation will be focused on this facility. New locker room for the men and the women, a much needed renovation kickstart, so to speak. And that's all good news for Portland fans. West Coast Conference Tournament. If it started today, Portland gets Pacific in game 1. Loyola Marymount gets Pepperdine. That game 1 winner would appear later. And obviously, if you're Gonzaga, right now you're staring at the number 2 seed, which gets you the double bye, along with St. Mary's as the 1 seed. But it would feel like Gonzaga would have to go through San Francisco to get to St. Mary's.
Which could at least provide Gonzaga another quad 2 opportunity. I don't think there's a way that a neutral site game would creep up to being of that importance, San Francisco Gonzaga.
Yeah, San Francisco would have to rise rapidly in the net and get at least to 50, and I don't see that happening in the near future. Danged it, the miss, ball's tipped. Here's Nembhard.
Nembhard, a terrific all-around game. 8 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists.
Ike just keeps on keeping on. 20 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists. Put him on the list. 12-4 run.
All right, Rich. Let's have Chauncey in the truck create an all-new graphic. But I agree with you. He's got to be on the list now.
Well, he definitely will be in the discussion. I mean, you're right, Rich. I mean, what he's done in the last 10 games, and you know, next 3 games, see what happens.
And let's be honest. I mean, Gonzaga's season will be judged by the last 3 games, the West Coast Conference Tournament, and the NCAA Tournament. And it feels like the Kentucky win is emblematic of the team's improvement in just about every phase. Ike's game has improved. We talked about Hickman, who is on a really, really nice roll. Nembhard playing well. Obviously Watson, Ben Gregg markedly improved in West Coast Conference play. I don't know if they're peaking. You want them to peak in the tournament, but they are rapidly improving and getting where they need to be.
Well, I think peaking is the proper word to use right there. I mean, they are playing at a much higher level. You got 4 guys in double figures tonight. Have done a nice job on both ends of the floor. Credit Portland, they stuck with it for a majority of the game, but you know, just an all-around effort. They have inside-outside attack, and there's Hickman with a big 3 right there as well.
Nolan Hickman burying that 3. And he's had, and this is 4 games in a row where he's been outstanding, averaged over 18 a game. He's got 19 in this one to go with 6 rebounds. And Mark Few emptying the bench. Yeah, the other thought is this. Dan, I'm interested in your thought on this. Gonzaga, in my opinion, is going to make the NCAA tournament, but they're not going to be a high seed, right? They're going to come in and it's going to be, hey, this is not the regular Gonzaga team. If you go back in history, and for Gonzaga in the NCAA tournament, some of their best tournament runs have come when they've been undervalued, overlooked, underappreciated. I mean, I'm not saying you want to be here, but I'm just saying this doesn't mean that Mark Few and the Bulldogs aren't going to win games in the NCAA tournament.
I 100% agree. And the beautiful thing about this program is they've had success in the NCAA tournament doing it a number of different ways. As a complete underdog, Coach Few likes to call it being the hunter. They've done it by getting to a title game by being a 1 seed on multiple occasions. So they know, the staff knows how to prepare for all different scenarios. And I really like the way that this team is playing and peaking at this time of the year. That Kentucky win, I think, really proved that they can beat a long, athletic, aggressive to score offensive type team. And it particularly show that they can execute in tough stretches the way they showed in that game.
And Coach, for Portland now, the focus is on the last two games, but really the opportunities are going to come in Las Vegas.
Absolutely, and I think they used this game to use the momentum. I think that they've had an overall decent performance. You know, yeah, there's been some breakdowns and maybe didn't make the many threes that we talked about in that open, but certainly a better team effort, played better at home. I think you use this momentum, last two games at home, they've got to play well and use that going into the tournament.
And by the way, stick around after the game. We will have interviews here. Dan Dickow, you get a chance to see his sporty new blue tie, and he'll be visiting with a variety of Bulldogs after this win. Not as convincing as the game in Spokane, to your point, Jennifer. I think Portland played a much better game tonight than they did on the road at Spokane. I think Gonzaga played a complete game that night, and they've played a complete game tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you credit Portland. They had runs, they responded, there was adversity, got it within 12. And then Gonzaga, again, same kind of thing. Went on a 12-0 run here in the last few minutes, and I think the complete game is absolutely right. I mean, offensively and defensively, you look at some of the stats tonight. I mean, points in the paint right now, 48-28, reboundings, 50-29. I mean, just dominating in those areas.
Krajinovic adding to this lead. 33 seconds left, Childs center. And the streak, we haven't addressed that, is going to continue here. It will be the 18th straight win by the Bulldogs over the Pilots. Last Pilot win was here in Portland in 2014. Long three, left side. And Drew Stack getting on the scoreboard. Hey, these guys practice too.
Yes, they do.
Right? I mean, you always got to have a little fun at the end.
Absolutely.
Shante Legans, Mark Few. The Bulldogs did what they came to do. They wanted to take care of business, keep the momentum going. They're 11-2 in conference. A lot of things would have to happen for them to catch St. Mary's. It's still possible, but right now at 21-6, 11-2. They help themselves winning on the road and setting up the last three with Santa Clara and a road trip to San Francisco and St. Mary's. Stick around after this. Now, Rich Waltz, Jennifer Mountain, Dan Dickow. Convincing win for this Gonzaga Bulldog team, and Coach, this is what Mark Few wanted. He said, let's take care of business. Let's not worry about what's ahead of us. Let's worry about what's in front of us tonight.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do. One game at a time. They did a nice job, complete game like we talked about. Did the business. I mean, they did what their job is and took one on the road.
Well, I know we should add him to the list, and Dan can ask him right now. He's with Graham Ike. A terrific night for the big man for Gonzaga. Danny?
Yeah, terrific night for the big man from Gonzaga is right here with Graham Ike. Another double-double, 7th on the season. Coming off a game where you were a perfect 9 for 9 from the field. Tonight you were only 9 of 14. What was wrong out there?
I don't know, man. It just wouldn't fall like I wanted them to, or like last game. But, hey, good to come out with a win. Great team effort from everybody. Just glad to keep this thing rolling.
You guys have had on a number of occasions now 4, sometimes 5 guys in double figures. How does that make your life easier on the low block, knowing that, hey, if a double comes, I make the right decision. If there's no double, I've got time and space to go to work.
It makes the read so much easier, especially with guys who are able to hit shots and make the right play afterwards. And if you don't double, it's just 2 points. So it's like pick your poison. What are you going to do?
Up next, you've got Santa Clara at home. You guys lost by 1 on the road to Santa Clara. You did not have one of your best games. Unfortunately, you fouled out in limited minutes because of that foul trouble. When you look back at that game, you've got to be excited and ready to figure out the things that you can improve upon individually and collectively for this game upcoming on Saturday. What is it that you're most looking forward to with this game?
Just the energy and effort from the kennel, get them in our home and just come back and bounce back. We got some get back for them, and we just got to rebound. We got to play harder, just play more solid, more connected, and we've been doing that over these games. That was one of our early games in conference. We've grown a lot since then, so we're ready to show that.
Have grown a lot since then. Graham Ike, another double-double in a dominant Gonzaga win. Back to you, Rich.
All right, thanks. Well, that's terrific stuff. I mean, just look at the stat sheet. 20 points, 14 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, I mean, he had a complete game, and when he gets deep position, he is so hard to stop. He can go both ways. You talked about the left-handed advantage. It is hard to play against, and he was terrific tonight.
Yeah, so Graham Ike is our A to Z rental player of the game. No job is too big or too small. With 8 convenient locations, we rent everything. Let A to Z rental be your most valuable player. Gonzaga's tournament resume now. I don't think this is going to affect the net ranking. It probably stays right at 22. And again, there's going to be probably 3 opportunities for quad 1 wins. At San Francisco, it's a road win. That's a road game, even though it's at the Chase Center, and against St. Mary's on the road, and probably against St. Mary's in the tournament. Those are the impact games.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. These next 3 games are critical. I'm with you. I believe that they're into the tournament with what they've already done this season. The next 3 games, obviously super important, but they have the resume, they have the talent, and I think they'll be in the NCAA tournament.
All right, plays of the game coming up now. Let's take a look.
Well, just a terrific job. We saw right out of the gate, nice pick and roll with Ike, and just a terrific finish. And then the returns of favor right there to Watson with a high-low option, and just a terrific job.
Yeah, Watson was very good as well. This is a total team effort for Gonzaga. Portland, on the other hand, how do you measure this for Portland? I think we both decided they played better than they did against Gonzaga up in Spokane, and there are things that they can take that are positives from this game.
Yeah, I think that overall, I mean, yes, there were moments where they didn't score the basketball, but I thought it was a team effort. I thought momentum was better. Having Tyler Harris back in the lineup was huge. Vucinic came in and did a great job in the paint area for them, and that's what they're going to need, a total team effort moving forward.
Moving forward for us, 86-65, that's the final. For Dan Dickow, for Jennifer Mountain, our entire production crew, I'm Rich Waltz. Good night from Portland. Zags rolling.